Let's unbox the Ducky Feather Mouse, available in 3 different switch types. I'm gonna unbox them and then compare them. Taking a look at the box, it comes in this compact package. I really do like the style of the packaging. It's blue with Ducky feather in this silver chrome lettering. You also have what switch type it is and also the color at the top. If we turn it over, you can see on the back, it has once again the name of the mouse and then a little bit of information about the several different specifications. So let's go ahead and open it up. We'll start off with the accessories. So these are going to be some larger Kevlar feet that go on the bottom of the mouse. Nicely packaged in that clear packaging. And you've got a larger set there and also what looks to be a smaller set. So you can change those out, you know, if the ones that are on the mouse wear out, or if you want a little bit more glide, you've got the option of some larger skates. There is of course the kind of quick start manual with warranty information. So it looks like they've got the warranty policy on there, the repair policy, how you can contact Ducky, and then the same thing just in another language. Now we can open the mouse itself. There we go, and there it is. It comes with a bit of Velcro on the cable. There's a nice peel here. Should we do a slow motion peel? Satisfying. Now that we've got the Ducky Feather unboxed, I've gone ahead and plugged it in so you can see the RGB lighting effects. And I think that means that we should start off with the appearance of this mouse. So like it says on the box, it is a black and white mouse. So whether you've got a black setup or a white setup, it should suit your other components. The majority of the body is black. You've got this black top plate with a little bit of white down the sides with these holes that help to reduce the weight. It is called the Feather, so it's a lightweight mouse. I would say that I have smaller hands, kind of small to medium hands, and it feels really comfortable for me. I use a fingertip grip and it is like the perfect size pretty much. If you have larger hands and you use a claw grip, I think it would also be suitable. It's just a very kind of well-rounded mouse. Like the design is just gonna suit the majority of people, which I really like. So the mouse itself, they say it's like a lightweight mouse. It does weigh 65 grams, which means there are lighter mice out there. You can get mice under 60 grams now, which I would consider to be a true lightweight mouse. But at 65 grams, it feels natural. It's very well balanced. Kind of if you hold it in the center, you can see it's not weighted in one particular direction, and it does actually feel really quite nice to use. So my overall first impressions are really, really good. Taking a closer look, you can see that obviously this is a wired mouse and it does have what Ducky are calling an ascended paracord cable. So that means it kind of comes out at this angle, and that is just gonna help to lift the cable off the desk, create a bit more clearance to prevent it snagging. You definitely don't want it to get caught. And then because it's made of this really nice braided paracord material, it's gonna prevent it getting all kind of kinked up and tangled under your desk. Because the last thing you want when you're trying to hit those headshots, make all those fast movements, is for your cable to get snagged. That can be really frustrating. So I do like the cable on this mouse. Also, of course, we have the different buttons. So you've got the scroll wheel on the top, which feels very nice. It's coated in rubber and it's got nice actuated bumps as you kind of scroll it through. Makes a nice noise as well. And then on the sides of the mouse, you can see that it does have these buttons here next to your thumb, and Ducky have been quite clever. So because this is an ambidextrous mouse, it does have a left hand and a right hand mode. So you can actually change what the buttons do essentially. So whether you're a left-handed or a right-handed user, you can change the default. So no matter which way you use the mouse, the functionality and the buttons are going to feel quite natural. And I like that it has 4 buttons, because a lot of mice will say they're ambidextrous, but they might only have the buttons on the left-hand side. But if you are going to be a left-handed gamer, I think this mouse would actually be really suitable. So that's the top of the mouse. If we take a closer look at the bottom, you can see that this mouse is a little bit different to others that we've kind of reviewed. All the functionality for changing the polling rate and the lift-off distance is actually done on board the mouse itself. Ducky doesn't really like software, so if you're someone that likes to fiddle around with sliders in software, this mouse is probably not going to be suitable for you. But if you hate the fact that you have to fiddle around with RGB software and it kind of slows your PC down, you've got like 10 different lots of software installed on your PC for all these different components, this mouse is great because you can change the lift-off distance between low, default, or high. You can change the polling rate between 1,000, 500, or 125 just on the bottom of the mouse. And then of course you also have the DPI setting as well. And taking a look at the manual, you can see all the different settings and what they mean for each color. So you can go straight to the setting you find is most suitable for you, and you can adjust that up to 16,000 DPI because this mouse does use a Pixart sensor. It's the Pixart PWM 3389, which is a really good kind of mid-range sensor, and yeah, you've got all that functionality with the DPI, etc. If I put the mouse on the desk, actually let's grab a mouse mat. Do we have a mouse mat? I have acquired a mouse mat so that I can test the glide of this mouse, and I must say it does feel really, really good. It's lightweight, it's only 65 grams, so it just glides straight across the mouse mat and it's not going to cause any fatigue on those 8-hour gaming sessions. If we flip it over, you can of course see that the feet that are pre-installed are actually quite small, but they do work well as they are. And of course, like we unboxed earlier, you do have the option of those larger skates in the box as well. So you could remove the existing ones and install this much larger set if you feel like it needs even more glide than it already has. The mouse that I unboxed was of course the one with the Omron switches, but we do actually have all 3 versions that you can acquire on the Overclockers website. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox these now and see how these feel and compare. So while I was actually unboxing the others as well, I did discover they do actually come with a kind of colored quick start guide, which tells you the different DPI. You can see the different lighting colors match up to the different DPI settings. You can adjust between 400, 800, 1600, 3200, 6400, 12,000 and 16,000. And it also tells you how to set up the RGB lighting and how to adjust the different settings and what the different buttons do, etc. So that is quite nice that does come in the box and you don't necessarily have to download the online manual. So moving on to the switch types, I unboxed the Omron. Hopefully that sound is coming across on camera, but it feels like the most lightweight switch. It doesn't need quite as much actuation force. It's very lightweight and it's very spammable. Moving on to the Kale switch, which for me is kind of the middle ground. Back to the Omron, back to the Kale. It requires a little bit more force. I must admit, at first, they did feel pretty much the same, but when you kind of play with them a little bit more, the Omron does feel a little bit lighter, a little bit more spammable. Kale is kind of somewhere in the middle, but it does feel very similar to the Omron, just slightly a little bit more firm. The heaviest switch, and probably the one that I am a bit surprised of I actually like the most, the Huano switch. You can really hear the difference between the Omron and the Huano. So it sounds very funky and it's also quite heavy to use. It's a very defined press. Like when you click it, you know you're pressing it. If you're used to like Cherry MX switches, I would say the Omron kind of feels like Speed Silver. The Kale is kind of like a red Cherry MX switch. And then the Huano is kind of like a heavy, like I think it's like a black switch, you know, where it's got that really like heavy actuation force. So to summarize the Ducky Feather, you have RGB lighting, which you can change between different settings using the DPI and the button on the side of the mouse. So you can go with this crazy rainbow color, or Ducky have a whole host of different options for you to adjust the lighting. You have the Pixart PWM sensor with up to 16,000 DPI, which is going to be ideal for gaming, but you can of course also change the DPI between the different settings. You've also got switches on the bottom for the lift-off distance and the polling rate, and there is no software. So if you hate having to install software for your peripherals and components, the Ducky Feather is going to be perfect for that. The mouse overall, it's ambidextrous, so if you're left-handed or right-handed, it's going to be a really good option. And I like that Ducky have included left-handed and right-handed modes. So for people that are right-handed, you have so much choice when it comes to gaming mice. But for people that are left-handed, then I think the Ducky Feather is really worth looking at because it has a lot of features that you might not find in other left-handed or ambidextrous mice. It is of course lightweight at 65 grams. It's not the most lightweight mouse available on the market, but it does feel very well balanced. It's kind of somewhere in that mid-range, and I think Ducky of kind of 65 grams, it's definitely a good weight for a mouse. And I do find it to be comfortable for my kind of small to medium hands, but I think also if you use a claw grip, it would also be suitable for people with larger hands. Best of all, it is on offer right now on the Overclockers UK website while stocks last, so you can get it for a great price. It is a more affordable gaming mouse, of course, because it is wired with that nice paracord. You're not kind of paying extra for wireless technology. I think for gaming mice anyway, wired does make more sense. But yeah, that has been the Ducky Feather available at Overclockers UK.